Hello, good afternoon, and you're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Vinny Motiwala, and along with me, Cheryl D'Souza as well. Cheryl, a very good afternoon to you. Today, the markets did open up on that positive note. We saw it almost reaching the 19,600, but after that, just that fall and around those 19,400 levels again.
Absolutely, Vinny. In fact, we are near the day's lowest point when it comes to the benchmark indices. As you can see on your screens, approximately 150 points off the day's highest point coming in for the benchmark indices. If you look at what the broader markets are doing, they were pretty much in the positive territory. Last time I checked with the small cap index near the record high levels. You had mid cap index also near the record high levels in today's trading session, and they are holding on to the positive territory as of now when you compare it with the broader with the benchmark indices. Let's take a look at what Nifty Bank is doing at this point in time, if it's moving in tandem with the benchmark indices. No, Nifty Bank also is outperforming the benchmark indices, 0.3% uptick coming in for Nifty Bank. Nevertheless, that particular index is also off the day's highest point. If you look at the advance decline ratio, so far it is still tilted towards the favor of advances. So hopefully we should not see a sharper fall. But the likes of L&T, that one has seen a sharp fall from the day's highest point. You have Bar Dynamic also taking a breather in trade today. You have Paytm that's fallen off the day's highest point as well. And this sort of a movement has happened over the last half an hour or so. Talking about the sectoral indices, then on the sectoral indices front, you have the Realty Index that continues to hold the pole position. It is the top gainer on the sectoral indices front, followed by IT Index as well as the FMCG Index that are holding on to the positive territory as of now. While on the flip side, now you have Energy Index as well as PSU Bank Index that has slipped to in the negative territory. Remember, when we started the day, all the sectoral indices were in the positive territory. So now you're seeing some weakness kick in for PSU Bank Index as well as Energy Index. So that's the way how the markets are looking like at this point in time, Vinny. Yes, we are off the day's highest point, but one thing is good, Nifty is still above the 19,400.
Let's get started with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade on the back of news flows or on the back of technicals as well. And on the technical front, we have Kunal Bothra joining in with us, while from the research team today we have Ankita as well as Ashesha joining in with us. A very good afternoon to all three of you all as well. And let me start as always with the first stock that is in focus, and we're going to talk about NHPC. NHPC is in focus after they have actually signed a memorandum of understanding, and this is with Andhra Pradesh Power Generation Company. So on the back of that, we're seeing NHPC is in focus. This is mainly for the implementation of pump storage hydropower projects and renewable energy that will be including solar, floating solar, wind energy as well. So keeping an eye out on NHPC today. As of now, when you look at the stock price, it's given up its morning gain, but with the market falling as well, we've seen it's still managing to hold on to some gains of around 0.4% in trade, and that is NHPC for you all today.
All right, moving on then, let's put the spotlight on all the sugar stocks in today's trading session. All of them are pretty much abuzz in the trading session. Yes, you had a Newswire agency report the fact that the Indian government is likely looking at banning sugar exports, and this for the first time in 7 years. No doubt we had ISMA come on the channel on record say that for now there are no talks about banning sugar exports. But also given the fact that the stocks are also rallying because the commodity futures also saw a sharp surge in overnight trading session, and this was on back of the concern related to weather, and the weather concerns will go ahead and curb the output. So on back of the fact that there is likely to be lesser production than expected on back of the erratic weather patterns that we are seeing, we saw the sugar contracts actually see a jump of about 3.6%, rebounding from a 6-week low, and that particular reaction you can see in all the sugar stocks in today's trading session. So you have Bajaj Hindustan then seeing an uptick, Sri Renuka is seeing a sharp uptick, Balrampur Chini, Banari Amman as well as Dalmia Bharat Sugars, all of them seeing extremely sweet gains on back of this particular news, though the news is not that great given the fact that there will be a lesser production than expected.
An eye out on those sugar stocks, but what is also seeing good gains today, that is Emphasis, Kunal. And what is the chart now indicating for Emphasis? Last 6 months, has managed to stay in that range and just 10 to 11% return in the last 6 months. Now, what should we be expecting on the technical front here?
So the stock is at a fresh multi-month high. Today, in fact, when the stock had broken past about 2450 mark, it's almost touched a 52-week high, if not broken above those levels. Volumes are also looking quite strong for Emphasis, and the pattern which the stock has made on the daily charts is a flat pattern breakout. So the last 1 or 2 weeks, the stock was consolidating in a range of 2200 on the downside and 2350, 2380 on the upside. So that range of 180 odd points seems to be broken out for Emphasis, and when we see such kind of a breakout, we expect the stock to move up by at least the same margin in terms of the points. So from 2380 levels, we would be looking out for at least 180 point on the upside for Emphasis, which totals up to closer to 2600 mark for the stock. So would be bullish on Emphasis over the very near term and expecting the stock to move up higher by at least another 100 to 150 points.
Expect uptick of approximately 150 to 200 rupees on Emphasis is what Kunal has to say. But Shesha, moving on, Ipca Labs, why is this one in the spotlight today?
Well, yes, Ipca Labs is in focus on the back of some US FDA action that has come through. The stock is off the highest point of the day, but despite that, as we speak, it is sitting on with gains of over 1.5%. Remember, it was in the month of April when the company had informed the exchanges that US FDA had conducted inspection at company's Silvassa facility. This inspection was conducted between the 18th and 26th of April, where the company was issued Form 483 with 3 observations. There's an update which has come in with respect to this observation, where the company has said that they have received an official communication from the US FDA and that they have determined the inspection classification of this manufacturing facility as VAI, or voluntary action indicated. That's a positive news that has come in. Based on this inspection, the facility is considered to be in minimally acceptable state of compliance with regards to current good manufacturing practice. So on the back of this communication that the company has received from US FDA, a positive news flow for the stock. The stock is in the green today, 1.7% higher in trade for Ipca Labs as we speak.
Okay, keeping an eye out on Ipca Labs on the back of that news flow. But talking about Godrej Properties then, Kunal, at stock number 5, when you look at it in the last 1 month, after touching that 52-week high, slight bit of a correction that has come in. But overall, 6 months has seen a very strong gain. What is the chart pattern now indicating for Godrej Properties?
Last 4 days of decent uptrend for Godrej Properties, where the stock has moved from 1500 2025 mark to 1625 where it's trading right now. But then whether this is a strong recovery for Godrej Properties or whether this is just a minor rally after a sharp correction, I would believe that this could just be a minor rally before the stock gets into another round of correction on the upside. So in terms of retracement, the 61.8% retracement for Godrej Properties comes closer to 1675 1680 mark. So that's a huge resistance for the stock over the near term. So my sense is that traders should try and be a bit more cautious at current levels, and only above 1675 levels I would be bullish on Godrej Properties, and at current levels would advise booking out profits for traders who have been buying the stock over the last couple of days.
Alright, moving on, Ankita, let's talk about Paytm and why is this one in the spotlight. Key to note is the fact that definitely the stock is off the day's highest point.
Correct, Cheryl. The day is off the day's highest point. In fact, it has declined a bit, but still holding on in the green. It is on the back of the fact that Bernstein has come out a note and they have initiated an outperform on the counter with a target price of 1,100 rupees per share. Now, they feel that Paytm is a dominant digital payments platform and, it is on the right side of the disruption. They also expect its loan dispersal volumes to grow sharply and achieve a market share of around 4% by FY26 estimates. Also, they see, with stabilizing margins in its payment segment, they expect the business to break even by FY25. They also expect an EPS of rupees 130 by FY30, and on the back of that, Bernstein has initiated an outperform with a target price of 1,100 on the counter, and on the back of that, Paytm is going to be in focus today.
Okay, let's move on and talk about PNG Health. Now, they came out with their Q4 FY23 numbers last evening. When you look at the numbers, not a great set of numbers that have come in from the company. They've declared a dividend also of 50 rupees per share. But when you look at it in terms of the profits of the company, that has seen a decline of around 28% on a year-on-year basis versus last year. This decline was mainly attributed to the elevated raw material costs that they've seen, as well as, in terms of employee cost also, that has seen a bit of an increase, and that was a point that was impacting the profits of the company. Despite that, when you look at it in terms of the top line growth, that has seen a growth of around 2%, rest 2% growth in top line. That's a mild growth there. That is why the decline also comes down in terms of the profit also, because the growth only in terms of revenue was not as high. So keep keeping an eye out on PNG Health today, not doing anything exciting in trade after a subdued set of numbers was reported by the company in Q4 FY23 is what the numbers they reported. Today down 4% in trade as of now.
Let's shift focus to a stock that is gaining for a fourth consecutive session in today's trading session. And not just that, it has actually hit a over 5-year high in today's trading session, and that particular stock is Atul Auto. This particular stock has been a buzz off late. In fact, today, if you look at the stock, it saw an uptick of as much as 4.5% at open. No doubt it's given up most of its gains like the rest of the market. 1.1% uptick it's holding on to. And the reason why Atul Auto is seeing such a huge jump is because the stock Society Generale has actually acquired about 1.41 lakh shares in the company via block deal, and the price of the block deal was 409.54 rupees per share. So on back of that, you have Atul Auto, that is our buzz, and you have a lot of marquee names actually entering this particular counter. So you keep Atul Auto on your radar, fourth day of gains.
Of gains there, but the next stock that Kunal has picked out as well, that is BHEL, and that one also, Cheryl, when I'm checking right now, it's trading almost at a 5-year high today.
I think you will have to note the uptick of BHEL since the day Kunal actually said it's a buy.
I think, yeah, that's one to watch out for as well. But 5-year high, Kunal, already there. Last 6 months, 1 year, you look at it, very strong gains. What is your view now on BHEL? Would you say that, it's something that one should book profits, or would you still suggest a buy for BHEL?
Buy as well as a hold for traders who have a slightly medium to long-term kind of a time horizon. So the stock has broken past above a 10-year of downward sloping trend line, more than 10 year of downward sloping trend line. 2010 high for BHEL was around 350 odd mark. And at one point in COVID, the stock made a low which was around 18.5 odd levels. Now from there, the stock has recovered quite well. It's come back towards the breakout of this major downward trend line support resistance for BHEL, and the stock has also given signs of a good volume move in the last few trading sessions. So yes, BHEL is something which I've been recommending over the last few months, and even at current levels, I would expect the stock to gradually make new highs for itself. From a very short-term play, 125, 130 could be a target for BHEL, but for long-term investors, I think the target potential could be significantly higher than that.
Alright, so that's the take coming in on BHEL. But Ashesha, let's talk about PB Fintech, and why is this in the spotlight today?
Nuvama, in fact, met with the management of PB Fintech, and we have some important commentary that has come in with respect to company's growth path and profitability from here on. The company says that Policy Bazaar could clock almost 40% plus CAGR over the next 4 to 5 year period. As far as platform business protection premium is concerned, management expects it to grow at about 2 to 3 times industry average. They are hopeful of maintaining their margin levels as well. Core platform business contribution margin is expected to come in at about 55% by FY27. As far as new initiatives and capex plans are concerned, they say new initiative investments could be limited to about 150 to 200 crores, and they've reiterated their FY27 PAT guidance of 1000 crores. So positive commentary coming in from the management, because of which the stock has also recovered from the lowest point of the day, sitting on with marginal gains of 0.3% as we speak.
Okay, that is PB Fintech for you all. Let's move on to stock number 11, and that is GAIL, Kunal. At the current market price of 118, what is the chart indicating now for GAIL, and what is your view on this one?
Is at a multi-week breakout for itself. Now the stock had previous resistance around the 119 mark. In the last 3 or 4 days, the stock has recovered from 111, 112 to 118.5 where it's trading right now, which means it's coming very close towards the breakout of the previous major swing high for GAIL. The entire momentum has shifted to the PSU stocks. We've seen so many of the PSU names, even the PSU banking stocks and many of the other names on the power, energy, etc. Space doing exceptionally well. So I would believe that GAIL could be another stock which can see a pretty quick breakout maybe over the next couple of trading sessions.
Alright, that's the take coming in on GAIL. But Barbecue Nation, Ankita, why is this one in the spotlight?
Cheryl, it is in the spotlight on the back of a brokerage note, but the share hasn't done really much for the investors. In fact, it is down 30% year to date, and today also it is trading in the red. Now, Investec has come out to pay the brokerage note, and they're maintaining a buy on the counter, but they have cut the target price to 893 rupees per share from 1,203 rupees. Now, they feel that the management's steps to turn around the challenging situation have just started to show up in the performance. Also, they expecting a healthier store metrics to follow with EBITDA growth from the Q3 of FY24. They also feel that the FY24 estimate being a reset here. They're expecting a strong recovery-led growth by FY25. Also, valuations of 14.5x EV to EBITDA on FY25 remain very attractive, and on the back of that, Investec is maintaining a buy, cutting the target price for the counter, and on the back of that, Barbecue Nation will be in focus today.
Okay, keeping an eye out on Barbecue Nation. But let's move on and talk about Reliance Industries. Why is this one in focus? Is because we've seen that Qatar Investment Authority has actually said that they will be making an investment in Reliance Retail Ventures for 0.99% stake in Reliance Retail Ventures, which is an arm of Reliance Industries. And that is going to be a value of around 8,278 crore rupees. Now, obviously, this investment which they are making values Reliance Retail Ventures at around 8.3 lakh crore rupees. And Qatar Investment marks this second round of investment that they're making in Reliance Retail Ventures Limited. Now, the first round had happened in 2020, and that time the value at which you would value Reliance Retail Ventures would be at around 47,300 crore rupees. Now, obviously, there are a lot of investors back then that were there, like Silver Lake, KKR, General Atlantic, TPG, and PIF as well. Now, obviously, keep an eye out on Reliance Industries on the back of this investment that has come in Reliance Retail Ventures Limited, which is increased in terms of the value is also increased by 58% in dollar terms as well. So keeping an eye out on Reliance Industries today, as of now, given up those morning gains that we've seen coming in, trading at the day's lowest point around down 0.8% in trade.
All right, let's shift focus then from a stock that is declining to a stock that has hit over 12-year high in today's trading session, and that is Vascon Engineering. A sharp surge is what that particular counter noted. 9.3% uptick is what it actually registered towards the open. Right now is holding on to gains of approximately 3.5% or so. The reason why the stock actually gained to the highest level since August 4, 2011 is the fact that they won an EPC contract worth about 606 crore rupees, and this in order to build a medical college as well as hospital in Bihar. So on back of that, you can see Vascon Engineering pretty perked up in trade, still holding on to gains about 3.5% as we speak.
Let's move on and talk about Sun TV on the technicals and the charts. And Kunal, Sun TV, decent returns, good returns in the last 6 months. What is it now looking like? And especially, when you're looking at it post-June, seems like a sharp run-up has come. How long do you think, furthermore, what is the time frame for this run-up to continue?
It is a very, very interesting stock, and the most interesting part about the charts for Sun TV is that the stock has a habit of going into years of consolidation, not just months or weeks in this case. And whenever the stock gets into a breakout, we've seen the breakout, leading towards a huge multi-year uptrend for Sun TV. Just as an example, in 2016, February, the stock came out of a 4-year of consolidation when it was almost at 400-425 mark, and from there the stock moved up higher by almost 2.5x from those 400 levels. We believe that Sun TV is heading towards such a kind of a similar breakout after remaining into a range for the last 3 years. From 2019-20, the stock made a high which was around the 585 mark. After correcting towards 400 levels, it's come back towards that 585 mark for itself, which means that the stock is getting ready for a bigger breakout on the long-term charts. Extremely bullish on Sun TV from the next 1 to 2 year perspective.
All right, moving on. Ashesha, let's talk about Gujarat Ambuja Exports. This one is actually buzzing in trade. What's the reason?
Well, yes, positive news flow has come in with respect to company's expansion plans, where the company has received approval or the no objection certificate from the Gujarat Pollution Control Board for setting up a 900 TPD greenfield corn wet milling plant in Himmatnagar, Gujarat. So on the back of these expansion plans now coming into play, the positive news flow has come in, because of which the stock is gaining in trade today, 6.6% higher in trade for Gujarat Ambuja Exports as we speak.
Strong up move coming in there after the nod that has come in for the company. But let's move on and talk about L&T Financial Holdings. And Kunal, on the charts, what is it looking like for L&T Financial Holdings? Should we expect a good run-up and the run-up that we've seen in the last 6 months to continue?
Extremely bullish on L&T Finance as well from a long-term play. I think the stock should, give hopefully steady returns over the next 6 months to 1 year at least, and possibly even beyond that. It's given through a classical breakout, again a 3-year breakout for L&T Finance, breaking past about the first swing resistance which was on closing basis around 105 mark, and then closer to 115, 114 for L&T Finance on the monthly charts. So the stock looks attractive. It has gone through I think a 15% correction from 140 to 120, 118 odd mark, and now it's come back towards 127, which means that we could probably have seen a near-term bottom in place for L&T Finance. Looks attractive.
All right, that is L&T Finance for you, but SBI Cards, Ankita, why is this one in the spotlight today?
Cheryl, SBI Cards is in focus today on the back of a brokerage note that has come out of Bernstein, and they have initiated an underperform on the counter with a target price of 650 rupees per share. Now, they feel that the company will face the direct impact of the rise of alternative digital credit offerings. They also expect the earnings growth to decline sharply from 30% in the last decade to 15% in the next 5 years. They also see no revival in the revolvers and see continued pressure on the free margins. And on the back of that, SBI is going to be in focus today.
All right, and I believe that's SBI Cards for you and not State Bank of India. SBI Cards as the focus, because Bernstein had come in dual report, one on Paytm and
one
the
on
same one was SBI Cards. So that was SBI Cards to keep in the spotlight and not SBI. Well, let's move on and let's actually slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat. But remember, here's a special programming. In the dynamic world of entrepreneurship and financial planning stands as a crucial pillar for success. As entrepreneurs forge their path, and careful financial foresight can ensure stability amidst the uncertainty. And to discuss the importance of financial planning for entrepreneurs in detail, we have experts from the industry speak at the SBI Mutual Funds Invest Smart Mutual Funds ke saath. Listen.
Whenever financial planning is spoken about, it is understood that I think they are talking about SIP into either equity mutual funds or direct stocks, etc. But for an entrepreneur who also needs to take into account unforeseen risks which the business may require going forward, what are the other options to keep money parked outside of the balance sheet or the P&L of the business, but still somewhere in sight? So beyond equity also, what are the other options which they should also take into mind while asset allocation?
So that's a very, very relevant question. So when we speak about mutual fund, invariably we think that everything is related to equity, which is not the case. A mutual fund in itself is not an asset class. It is the medium or the vehicle through which you invest into different asset classes. So we have schemes which invest into debt mutual fund, right from your overnight money to your 10-year, 15-year GSEC money also, and in between corporate bond and different tenures of papers on the corporate bond side. Then you have equity. We have gold-based funds also, gold ETF, gold index fund and all, which you can look at. And now there are real estate funds and all which are coming in. So depending upon what kind of a allocation you are looking to put into different asset classes, we have mutual fund strategies which can help you in taking those kind of a exposure.
For entrepreneurs or for individuals, in financial planning parlance, what we call is creation of a contingency fund. That is an emergency fund. Now that emergency could be anything. For an individual who's working, it could be a job loss, it could be a medical emergency. For an entrepreneur, it could be fluctuations in his business or some tax liabilities. That money you need on the spur of a moment in 24 hours.
And to watch this entire episode for more insights, tune in at 4:30 p.m. today or Sunday, 27th August at 7 p.m.